When you want to shut down in order to interrupt immediately a process that's going on like the spread of infection, you have to have an end game. You have to have an end game.
Dr. Fauci, when is the time? When is the time?
What is the time?
Well, in your written statement, you say, now is not the time to pull back on masking, physical distancing, and avoiding congregate settings. When is the time? When do Americans get their freedom back?
When we get the level of infection in this country low enough.
What is low enough? Give me a number. What, I mean, we had 15 days to slow the spread, turned into 1 year of lost liberty. What metrics, what measures, what has to happen before Americans get their freedoms back?
My message is to get as many people vaccinated, to get the level of infection in this country low, that it is no longer a threat. That is when.
What determines when?
You have to have an end game.
I'm sorry.
What measure?
You have to have an end game.
I mean, are we just going to continue this forever?
You have to have an end game.
When do we get to the
end game
point? What measure, what standard, what objective outcome do we have to reach before Americans get their liberty and freedoms back?
It's based on the CDC guidance, which is
and I'm asking a question. What measures have to be attained before Americans get their First Amendment liberties back?
You have to have an end game.
Tell me specifically.
Right now, we have about 60,000 infections a day, which is a very large risk for a surge. We're not talking about liberties. We're talking about a pandemic that has killed 560,000 Americans.
I get that,
That's what we're talking about.
And I don't disagree with that. And I understand how serious that is. But I also understand it's pretty serious when businesses have been shut down. People can't go to church. People can't assemble in their own homes with their friends, with their families. People can't go to a loved one's funeral. People can't get to their government, petition their representative to redress their grievances. Right. I also understand the First Amendment's pretty darn important. And it's been a year. And I want to know when Americans will get those First Amendment liberties back.
Well, you just said people cannot assemble in their own homes. They can. That's a CDC recommendation for vaccination.
Not last fall they couldn't.
I didn't hear.
Not last fall they couldn't.
I didn't hear what he said.
The gentleman's time has expired. I'll give you one instance of when we can get our liberties back. It's when 90% of the members of the United States Congress get vaccinated.
Well, I want to know if that's what Dr. Fauci, is it 90%, Dr. Fauci? Is it 90%? That's what I'd like to know. Give us some objective standards versus when certain things get reached, we might be able to get back to having our liberty. When? What are the numbers?
Well, you're going to see a gradual, right now we're at an unacceptably high level.
When it comes down, what number do we get our liberties back? Tell me the number. Tell me the number.
When 90% of the members of Congress get vaccinated.
But you're not a doctor, Mr. Clyburn. He is. What is the number?
I can't
Thank you for recognizing me, Mr. Clyburn. Thank you.
Chair now recognizes for 5 minutes.
I'd like my question answered.
Ms. Maloney, gentleman's time has expired.
Mr. Chairman, the American people want Dr. Fauci to answer the question.
You have to have an end game.
What does it have to be?
Sir. If you need to respect the chair and shut your mouth. Dr. Fauci, I love you. Thank you.
You have to have an end game.